welcome to Top Class Tokyo, a weekly weeb podcast about life in Japan and the collision of Asian and American culture. I am your host, Kim Sensei, English teacher by day and by night, podcaster extraordinaire, broadcasting to you from Tokyo, Japan. Joining me today from sunny Los Angeles is my lovely co-host, Justine.
That's me!
Wow!
I've made it! How are you?
All
How
right.
are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Tokyo's good. How is LA?
Okay, for February and it's like this sunny 70-degree weather, I cannot really complain.
Oh yeah, like people say it's cold here, but it's not. And just being from the East Coast, I'm just like, this is like just barely sweater weather for me here. So yeah.
Why? What is it over there?
I mean, it's more like Florida to me, because it's just so like it's a really similar climate to Florida, I'd say, because it's got like the palm trees and stuff, but it gets humid in the summer. So I just feel like Tokyo doesn't really have real winter. But
So like California then.
I guess, but I've never been to California in the winter because I'm always there in the summertime for con season.
Yeah, it's I guess the coldest it'd probably get is like in the evenings, maybe the high 30s, but that's only for like maybe 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Yeah, so it sounds about right.
But then
Same.
it'll be like 70 degrees for winter.
Not during the day, not here. Like it only gets up to maybe like 40, 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little chilly. Little sweater weather.
We get part-time winter. We get it at night when everyone's at home asleep.
Take the day off, winter. Work from home, winter. Okay. All right. So this is our fetish episode.
Yeah. I am so glad. We just had our Lunar New Year play party at the dungeon on Friday, which is super great. I stayed up later than I normally do, and now I'm like dead exhausted because I got back at like 3 a.m. and I was like, what is life?
3 a.m. of the same day today in California.
Well, it was on Friday, so yesterday I was
Okay.
a zombie. But I went on a hike this morning, so that's why I'm extra dead, because
Whoa.
I was up at like 5 a.m.
Oh my god, it's like living life to the fullest.
Full send! But yeah, so the dungeon was pretty great for people who are not familiar with what dungeons are. This is where you go to get your ass beat and other things within the fetish realm. Well, I imagine you can get beat wherever you want, but it's kind of a more socially acceptable place to like explore your kinks and like things that you're interested in, and meeting with other people with like-mindedness and try to explore things that you may or may not knew existed.
Okay. So like, what did they do to make it a Lunar New Year theme?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked. So we had these cute little like, you know, the little money envelopes, the red envelopes?
Yeah.
I got to distribute red envelopes with fortunes on it.
Oh
So
my
we had little
gosh.
red envelopes, and there was like a little like New Year's fortune, and there was like a little coin inside the red envelopes. So I got to hand out red envelopes to guests for like the Lunar New Year theme. And then it was all decorated where there's like the lanterns, and it was encouraged that people wore like Lunar New Year clothes, so tiger or red or like anything that's like within that theme of like Lunar New Year. Me and my coworker, we both wore like tiger ears and stuff and wore red, and it was super cute.
Oh, that's cute. So it's like really tiger themed.
Yeah.
That's really adorable, actually. It's like I'm from the Asian countries that don't celebrate Lunar New Year's. Like we don't do anything or that gives money, or we don't even celebrate this as the start of the new year, because typically in Japan the new year is Oshogatsu, and that's January 1st, and nothing really happens in February because it's more tied to like Buddhist religions. Is that true? Or is it just like culture? Culturally,
I
it's
think
like
it's a culture, yeah.
yeah, it's more of like a mainland Asia thing for like China, Vietnam, and I don't even know what other
Korea.
country. Korea?
Yeah, Korea does a Lunar New Year too.
Okay. Cuz like here in Japan, it's more like they don't even give, well, I guess they do give money for oshogatsu, but it's not I don't think it's not, there's not so much association with red envelopes. It's more about just like the money giving. But we do follow the like animal year sort of.
Yeah.
like tigers are everywhere in Japan this year, so yeah, there's tiger themed everything. But that starts for people in Japan in January. So
Okay.
it seems like that's more of like a mainland Asia thing, not non-islander Asians, not so much. But that's interesting. So it basically like pulls from like just like all sorts of different countries, cultures, and they kind of just throw it all together to like a mashup of like Asian.
Yeah.
Okay. So tigers, cute.
Well, in terms of how it relates to like kink world and stuff, it doesn't really, but hey, everyone likes a reason to dress up. And high key, the reason why I do my dungeons is because every month there's a theme.
It's a theme party, of course.
Yeah, that's like half the time. It's just like, make it a theme so we have an excuse to make things extra sexy for no reason. Lunar New Year, sexy tiger. St. Patrick's Day, sexy leprechaun. Easter, sexy Easter bunny. Dude, okay, I have my sexy Easter bunny outfit already, and I'm like, I'm counting down for April.
What's happening in April?
It's Easter, man.
Oh,
sexy
shit,
Easter
right.
bunny.
Yeah, okay.
So I feel like I really align well with the kink realm because a lot of it is anything you want, but make it sexy. It's also a very great outlet because now I get to recycle all these like cosplay outfits that I have that I just made it because I appreciate the character design, but it's like pirate costume got you, cowboy costume got you, penguin costume got you. I'm just like,
it's an easy transition to make for like a weeb, going from weeb world to like fetish world. I guess it's an easy transition. There's a lot of overlap with like costuming and like role playing.
But it's so great though because people don't look at you weird when you talk about perverted things because that's just normal. So I'm like, okay, well maybe I'm more like the kink world aligns more with things that I find important in life versus cosplay world, which is mostly like stories and stuff. And like I guess there's that whole same community aspect within most like hobbies you get into. But I just feel like kink world is like the nerd world minus all the shame for being a pervert.
I don't know. I feel like shame is present in both worlds, especially when we're talking about Asian cultures, and I feel like that's a lot of why these cultures are called our subcultures. And originally, you know, like it wasn't until recently that it wasn't cool to be a weeb, you know? So it was like a lot of recent mainstream acceptance is happening lately, but I still think the fetish world is obviously is so much more on the edge, on the fringe of being before being accepted into mainstream culture. But I think it's kind of on its way already there with media like 50 Shades of Grey and that kind of stuff. It's like sort of like the mainstream media is already kind of starting to like dabble in it. And like,
have you heard of Love and Leashes on Netflix?
Oh, I have.
Did you watch it? Oh my god.
Did. Wait, did you watch it?
I didn't have time to. I was so tired after the dungeon on Friday that I was like, I don't want to read to enjoy anymore. But I've been like keeping up with like the social, like how they've accepted it and how they like really like it from both like from American perspective and from a Korean perspective that's more conservative about those kinds of things. And I'm just like, yes, they made like BDSM things okay within the lens of like Asian consumption. So I'm very glad that it's
I know, it's really
tastefully
exciting.
translated.
For those, wait, so it sounds like you've done your Wikipedia homework. So
Hell yeah.
you're reading around the actual
They're not just fucking
content without without actually consuming the content. That sounds very Justine of you. So
Yes.
anyways, yeah, so Love and Leashes is a Netflix K-drama that came out recently, and I did watch it, and oh gosh, it's so aesthetic. I think watching it, it's beautiful. The story, unfortunately, is so weak. It's very flimsy. It feels like someone really wanted to make a BDSM Korean drama, and they shot it. It's so artistic and beautiful the way they did it. Like most Korean dramas, it's beautiful, and like the people are beautiful, the fashion, the sets are beautiful, everything's beautiful, but I feel like the story really wasn't there. So it's more style than substance, I think, because I feel like there's just a lot of, it has a weird tone, honestly. It has a very strange tone, because it kind of feels like a rom-com, and that just feels kind of like wrong. It's in a lot of ways. If you compare it to something like 50 Shades of Grey, which has a very like dark and serious and sexy tone like all the way through, right? And it's supposed to be like, ooh, we're so naughty doing these naughty things, and like and then you watch Love and Leashes, and it's a rom-com. It starts off like with this whole like office like package delivery mix-up, because the two protagonists, the guy and the girl in the office, have a very similar name, and the guy gets his like toys delivered for some reason. So he delivers his toys to himself at the office of all places, and like what could go wrong? And so the girl ends up opening his package, and that's how she finds out that he's like one of us. So like but the guy tries to play it off and whatever, and it's like this whole like comedy mix-up kind of thing. So it starts off really weird, like this haha kind of like, oh, it's this fun thing, and maybe that's the angle that it needed to take, especially as an Asian drama, like a K-drama, because I feel like if they went heavy with it, I think it would just be outright like rejected,
Suddenly, this is porn.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because it's not that lighthearted, this isn't serious kind of thing where it's just like, oh, this is all just make-believe and it's just for fun. And I feel like that's kind of the way that Asian Asian media like approaches these really sensitive and difficult sorts of topics that are really like controversial, I guess, in the yeah. And so like I like Love and Leashes for what it is, what it represents, and I wish the story was better written so that it could have had the same success as something like Squid Game, So yeah, for report card, I'd say Love and Leashes is like a solid C. I recommend it if you're into the scene and you like K-dramas. And the visuals, if you watch it on mute, solid A+, like beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, like, but yeah, it's not entirely there if in the storyline. So it's about like an average Korean drama if you're watching it, but yeah. C+. Love and Leashes.
I do appreciate some of the preview photos are of like the outfits that they have, and I'm just like, ooh, that's cute. Ooh, I want that bunny mask. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna try to like look at what wardrobes they have to be like, what do I want to add to my collection of lace things?
Yeah, and then also one other thing I can recommend, since this is our fetish episode, is also out of Korea, is one of the best fetish themed manhwa, Sadistic Beauty.
Yes, thank you. I was about
like,
to say, what if they made Sadistic Beauty into a fucking K-drama? Because that
right?
shit would not fucking fly.
Yo, no, I feel like why didn't they use Sadistic Beauty? Because I
It's
feel
not
like
conservative enough.
but they could have toned it down, you know what I mean? It's like and Sadistic Beauty does have a lot of really funny points. So, like, for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, Sadistic Beauty is a comic manhwa in Korea, manga as it's referred to in Korea. And it's another very femdom sort of love triangle that happens between these three writers at a university. And this girl is going back and forth between these two guys and also dominating them in every way possible. So it's really cute and funny at the right times, and I feel like since it is centered on the characters within the story are actual writers, I feel like the writing in the story is really solid. So great series, and it's got a ton of chapters in it too. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I'll just say the ending is polarizing. So A+, recommend, read Sadistic Beauty, then watch Love and Leashes and wish that was the script for it. So so yeah, Sadistic Beauty. Korea knows what it's doing when it comes to, I guess, like these controversies. I feel like it's so much more open and liberal and like accepting of these sorts of things, because these are things that I don't really see being talked about in the same way in Japan. Like, yeah, because I feel like hentai is so like rigidly pigeonholed here within like a very like standardly like male dominated sort of way, you know what I mean? And it's like you don't really see a very inclusive scene here in Japan because of patriarchy. So so I feel like the vibe is very different here in Japan when it comes to like porn, and especially like female consumption of porn, because it's it's still very straight, where it's like, if you're a man, you watch hentai. If you're a woman, you read BL. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like there's a lot of gender roles even within like fetish and porn that a lot of people in Japan still adhere to. Whereas that's not so much the case in Korea with these titles that have come out.
Yeah.
So things to think about. Anyways, speaking of Japanese porn. Speaking of Japanese porn, I watched up to maybe like around 5 episodes of My Dress Up Darling. And like, I feel like it goes from 0 to 100 like real fast. Like like everything was very like, of course it's like in the first couple episodes there's tons of fan service, but I feel like it's this type of fan service you see that has been the norm in a lot of other more mainstream titles. I'm looking at you, Food Wars. Like type of thing where like, and I'm specifically talking about like, spoiler alert for My Dress Up Darling, the bathroom scene. There is like, and this is so cliche too, but there's a bathroom scene in My Dress Up Darling where the second like love interest, I guess, is introduced. There's like a younger looking girl that like comes over to the guy's house and like gets out of the bath, and she like, and the guy doesn't realize like who she is or something, and he like opens the door, and then she slips and falls, and like out falls her vagina. So like like I just feel like up until that point, I felt like like suddenly it just felt so like it crossed a line. Do you know what I mean? Like, because like I feel like once there's just like outright flashing, like,
this is the porns now, eh? All
yeah,
right.
and I'm like, this is literally like now it feels like a hentai. Like now it feels like a hentai instead of just like fan service to the camera, and it's like it changes the relationship between the two characters, and it starts affecting the plot. Like now it feels like a hentai, and I don't know. That's why I don't know. And then I guess it kind of like made me feel sort of conflicted. It made me feel some kind of way because I'm like, wait, is this a hentai I'm watching? Like, is this actually a hentai I'm watching? It's like I feel like my expectations of this series like suddenly shifted, or at least like changed, because it was like I feel like there was like some kind of bait and switch that happened, because it was like, oh, this is just like a cute little like pervy series like about high schoolers who are just horny, and like a la Food Wars, right? Because like I feel like you could get away with broadcasting Food Wars maybe at night on like Adult Swim or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing I would see on a late night adult cartoon series, like where you like, and it's funny too, you know, because like people eat food, their clothes get blown
get
off.
naked.
In a foodgasm, their clothes just blow off of their bodies. So it's comedy. But My Dress Up Darling is comedy, but only like in the situational way, because of an awkward teenager who doesn't know how to deal with his feelings. So, and the comedy isn't really coming from the sex. It's more coming from like how uncomfortable he is with like just being around girls. And so it's just like, I don't know, it just feels different with My Dress Up Darling. And I'm also like, these are all minors, come on, I can't watch this. Like, I'm a teacher, that I'm getting like super uncomfortable here. So I'm like, oh, why? Everything has to be about high schoolers here. So
it's the fetishization of youth.
Anyways, there actually on my Twitter timeline, I did see that there's a new sports anime that has dropped, and it's like a salary man. They're not actually high schoolers. It's like there's a salary man, like racquetball club or something.
Yes, manga for the anime for the older generations.
Yeah, just what about us like oldies, moldy oldies?
This is for us. Stories we can relate to joining a racquetball team in our 30s.
Oh Lord. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. That's our fetish episode. If you have any other fetishes, fetish themed content you would like to share with us, any recommendations, share with us your thoughts on our recommendations.
Toy recommendations. Sponsor us.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, sponsors. Oh my god. Please leave your questions, comments, suggestions, and requests for other topics you'd like to hear more about in our comment section below. You can reach out to us on our social media at Top Class Tokyo on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, or you can send us an email at topclasstokyo@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Class is dismissed. See y'all next week. Bye.